friends, today we are going to see about how to install Oracle Enterprise Linux 4.7 version on top of VMware. So let us start with the things. So I am double clicking on VMware workstation. Okay, so once we have this VMware open, so we need to go for new virtual machine icon. So click on it, and here we have two options. Either we can go for typical installation or we can go for custom installation. So I am choosing custom installation so that we can select our memory size, or what type of hard disk we are going to use, etc, etc. So select the custom option, and by default it is custom only, and then click on next. So the current virtual machine configuration is of 7.0 version, so that is what it is going to display here. Okay, so in this screen we have multiple options, like we can install our operating system or Oracle Enterprise Linux from a DVD. So if you have a DVD, you can use that one, or if you have an ISO image, you can select the second option and you can browse where exactly your ISO image is existing. So in my case, my ISO image is existing in Z drive with this name OEL 4. Or you have another option of installing the operating system later. So when you select this option, only the blank virtual machine will be created, but later you can choose an option to install the OS. Usually we prefer to go for ISO image rather than using the DVD disk, etc. The reason is this installation using ISO image is much more prettier, faster than the DVD option. So once I select the second option, that is installing with ISO, then I am clicking on next button here. Then I need to choose my virtual machine name. So by default the name is Oracle Enterprise Linux, or if you wish you can use any name. So let me change to another name like PowerDBA. And below you have the location preference, where you want exactly the virtual machine to be created. So let me not create in C drive, because C drive is meant to store only the operating system related files. So that is the reason it is always better to use any other drive rather than C. So I am pointing to another drive, for say Z drive. So I want this virtual machine to be created in Z drive, and clicking on next. So here you can select the number of processors. It depends on how your laptop or desktop was configured. So if you are using a dual core processor, so you can select number 2 here, and if you are using any if you know about the cores of each processor, then you can select those things also. So I am selecting something, the default one and 1. So let me go for next. And how much memory you want to allocate for the virtual machine or virtual operating system. So I want to go for 4 GB. So I am just dragging this. Okay, so here I go 4024. So clicking on next. So you have different options of what type of network connection that you want to use. So you can go for bridge networking, or you can go for NAT, or etc, etc. And normally what we would be doing is we would be selecting the bridge networking option, so that tomorrow you can use the PuTTY session from Windows operating system in order to connect to the Linux operating system which you are creating now. So that would be further shown in the next upcoming videos. So just select the bridge networking option and click on next. and usually we will go for LSA logic, that is the SCSI adapter. So don't change anything over here, and then next. So create a new virtual hard disk, or if you are having any existing hard disk you can go for it, or if you have any physical disk you can go for that one also. So I am creating the new virtual hard disk, so clicking on first option and next. And the virtual disk type, usually we use SCSI only, so taking the default option and clicking on next. So here we need to specify the size of the hard disk, and if you want to practice Oracle database components, or the features like Oracle Data Guard, etc., etc., so in that case it is better to give at least of 40 GB. But if you have more space in your hard disk rather than that, then always better to go for that. For example, I am going for 60 GB here, and you have multiple options like allocate all disk space now, then store it as a single file, or store it as multiple files with 2 GB size. So the default one is storing as a single file, so I also recommend to go for that. So next, so the disk name, what should be your disk name? You can give any name over here, so I am going for the default name, and this is what our final configuration. So what all you have selected, it is going to show here. If you still want to change the settings, you can click on this customize hardware, and once again, if you want to increase the RAM size or decrease the RAM size, or you want to change the number of processors, or you want to change the sound card option or display option, so you have all these options with you, so you can preferably go and change them. So once you click on finish button, it is going to start your VMware guest operating system. And if you get a pop-up like below, you can just click on I finished installing, there is no problem. And once you click on mouse under this black screen and hit at the enter button, you can start your Linux installation. So basically Linux installation is of two types, one is graphical mode and text mode. So when you press enter button, it will be in graphical mode, and text mode usually will be used by the Linux admins, and that's a very rare case that we would be going for. So it is going to start your installer file, where it is going to invoke the installation. And the first option that you are going to get is to start the media check. So if you click on OK option here, then it is going to take quite long time, and if you are sure that your CD or the ISO image is perfect without any disturbances and all, you can click on the skip option. So if you select on OK button, then you need to wait for another 30 minutes more to complete the installation, which would take time. So this is the first screen of installation. We don't have nothing to do much except saying next and all. So clicking on next, and the language which you want to select, you can select multiple languages over here. The default one I am going for is English. And what type of keyboard that you want to use, I am going for US English keyboard, because different countries will have different types of keyboards. Like when you go for Russia or Germany or France, they will be having a separate type of keyboard, or when you go for Japan or any other country, they will be having separate keyboard. So the standard one which we are using is US English, so I am going for it. So clicking on next. Then you need to divide your hard disk. The hard disk size I have selected in the previous screens is 60 GB. So I need to partition that 60 GB into multiple options or multiple file systems now. So you can have two options like automatic partition or manual partition. So I am going for manual partition. So it is going to warn you that the data will be erased, no issues, that is anyways free space. So click on yes. Now I am going to show you the partitions what you need to do just for Oracle installation. I mean, if you have 60 GB of hard disk or 100 GB of hard disk, generally we have so many file systems that we can create. For example, if I click on new here, you can see I have so many file systems to be configured, like root, then /boot, home, /tmp, etc, etc. But what is required for our Oracle practice, so if we configure those mount points, that is enough for successfully running our Linux operating system. So I am going to show you only the mount points which are required for Oracle practice in our home machines. I am not going to show all the mount points configuration what we use in real time. So for that I am going to select the first file system as, or the first mount point as root, and root I need to go for 10 GB. So this is the size that we require when you are going for our OEL 4.7. so if you are installing or OEL 5 or OEL 6 versions, then these sizes may not work and you need to go for another sizes. So I am going for 10 GB here, then I left out with 51 GB, then clicking on new. Then as the second option I am going for boot mount point, and this I am giving around 5 GB. So basically boot file system is going to store the files which are required to start up your Oracle Linux operating system. Even if you don't use boot also, it will be fine, there is no issue. If you have space, you can give the size for boot, or otherwise you can skip that. And third file system I am going for swap, and the swap area usually people says it should be the double the size of RAM. So because my RAM size I have given as 4 GB, I need to give my swap area as 8 GB. So that is a general prediction that people use it to say. So I am going to follow the same thing. Then I left out with 38 GB still, so I am clicking on new. Then I am going for my own predefined mount points like U01, and U01 I am going to give it as 15 GB. Then U02 I am going to give it as 10 GB, and U03 I am going to give to the maximum allowable size. So I left out with only 13 GB, so I am giving that whole 13 GB to U03. So clicking on OK. So now you can see there is no free space, entire space is occupied with any one of the file system. So once you manually partition like this, you need to click on OK, next, and here nothing we have to do, like we don't require to change any boot loading options and all. Now this is one of the main important screens where you need to provide the IP address to this Linux machine, and especially when you are using especially when you are using this VMware operating system, then it is always better to use the IP address or the network within the same as your Windows OS. So let me show you how we can do that. So just go to your command prompt and type ipconfig. It is going to list you the IP address of your local net connection, and it is going to give you about the IP addresses that are listed for VMware network adapter and all. So we should be interested in taking these three values. So the first one is the IP address of the Windows machine. The second one is the subnet mask, which is having the value of 255.0, and the default gateway with some IP address. So we have these three values, so keep them in mind, and once again go to your VMware machine and here click on this edit option. Now once you click on this edit option, you have an option already checked like configure using DHCP. So just uncheck that, then you will be getting an option to enter the new IP address. So here I am going to enter one IP address like this, 168.1.102, let's say. So why I am giving 102 here? Because here you can see my Windows machine is having an IP address of 192.168.1.101. So here, because I have 101, it is better to use any IP above that, like 102 or 105, etc. So I am going with 102. And net mask, you need to give the same value as you saw in your command prompt. So here you can see the command prompt, the net mask value is 3255 and then .0 at the last. So you can use the same number over there and click on OK. Then you can provide any name to your machine. So this we generally call it as host name. So let me take it as pavandba.com. And the gateway, so again the gateway IP also should be same of what you are seeing here, 192.168.1.1. so let me provide the same value here. And primary DNS also you can go for same value as the gateway, and you don't require to specify the secondary DNS and tertiary DNS. So just click on next. Now it is better to disable the firewall instead of enabling it. The reason is, for our practice, when you have this firewall enabled, when you are trying to practice Oracle concepts like the database links or the materializer views, you may land up in facing troubles in practicing those concepts. So that is the reason it is always better to go for no firewall and then next. So it may give you a warning that firewall should be required, etc. So you can ignore that by clicking on proceed button. Then select the language on what is the default language you want to use to install it. So I am selecting for US English and clicking on next. Then in this graph you need to choose your time zone, from which country you are and what time zone you require. So I have been from India, so I selected the Indian time zone of Kolkata region, and then clicking on next. And we know already root is the super user of the Linux operating system. So basically while installation it is going to ask you to provide the password or to create the password of the root user, and you can give any password over here. So I am providing one password of mine and clicking on next. Then Linux is going to list you the options that you want to install. So you have two options, like installing the software, default software packages, or you want to customize your installation. So select customizing the software packages and click on next. And here just drag this window to down and click on everything. So because we don't know that what components are required for our Oracle installation at a later point of time in future, so it is always better to install everything. And there is a difference when you click on this. Before selecting everything, you can see the size over here, it is just 1.7 GB, and when you click on everything, this size will get increased to 6.8 GB approximately. So that means it is going to install all the required components or all the features of Linux operating system, and which is a better option to always choose for. And then clicking on next. So this is the final screen, and then once you click on next, it is going to start your installation. So first it is going to format all the file systems that you have specified in manual partitioning. and then it is going to start your installation process. So this is how we are going to complete our Linux installation, and once at the end of installation it is going to ask for reboot. So just reboot your Linux operating system and you can start using your Oracle Enterprise Linux. And hope this video is going to help you easily to install Linux operating system, and thank you for watching this video.